I might have got caught for shoplifting Hostess Twinkie cakes when I was 10.
At
10.
10.
Is that too old?
Not yet.
That's the start of a shoplifting career.
That's right.
10?
So you're still at it.
Oh, I got busted. No.
Yeah, I understand. I'm still your man with the pork fat baby back below.
Gdayall, and welcome to episode 22. Oh my gosh, it feels like I've been doing this forever. I can't speak today. Last week, Nat Nosh featured muffins, breads, sticky buns, Phil, don't say it, and pie. So, Phil, who said let them eat cake?
Some French lady. What's the name? Was it Joan of Arc?
No, she was the barbecue.
We're already starting on the Alex Trebek questions here. I'll take let them eat cake for 500.
And the answer would be Marie Antoinette.
Oh, I knew she was French.
But like if you go from the Marie Antoinette movie, she said she didn't really say that, so I don't know.
Well, in the movie she didn't say it.
No, bad spin in the press in those days. Now, before we jump into topics, Phil, what is your favorite cake?
Oh, I'm a big crumb cake eater. You know, coffee cake.
Coffee cake.
I love coffee cake, especially really good coffee cake.
Yes, now that is beautiful. My favorite, because it's all about me when we're talking about cake, is angel food cake. I always ask for that for my birthday. I love it.
It's too sticky, and not enough substance. I want something that I can eat and feel good about.
Well, it has
sugar, flour, cake.
Okay.
You don't have all those. Well, you get a lot of sugar in.
Okay. I'll make one day, and I'll cover it with glaze. Will you feel better then?
Well, chocolate glaze.
You can make a chocolate angel food.
Yeah, I know
cake.
they do that.
So today we are. Oh God, he's at it again with the puns. Today we're baking up a special show. Today's content, we are going to be talking about the top 10 cakes in the US, which I find the list debatable personally. Like I don't know who paid off the person that put it together for some of them.
Yeah, called her Betty Crocker and Duncan Hines. Yes,
that jerk Duncan. Differences from American-made cakes to British and French or Australian are really Britishy sort of types. Mm-hmm. Muffins, a cake by another name. Snack cakes, so we've got Hostess and Little Debbie's and
Tasty Cakes
and Drake's and all those sort of good things. Quick breads, which really are cake as well. So like banana bread. Yeah, we'll discuss that and how to fancy up a box cake mix so you can fool people. Let them think that you made it yourself. Well, if you bought it and stirred it like you made it.
Yeah, you had eggs to it. You did something. Right?
Cake doesn't really feature in pop culture until we sort of got the Food Channel. And now you've got Cake Boss and Ace and all these other people.
Yeah, and that British one, they always making cakes on there with that old lady. That elderly lady.
No, who is it? They bake-offs.
Yeah, they did a bake-off, the British bake-offs.
I watched the Canadian bake-off yesterday. They're so polite.
And speaking of Canadians and politely,
yes,
we have a special guest today.
We do.
This is our first guest.
First
returning guest, and this time live and in person.
That's right. So we obviously didn't offend her too much, but we will get to her shortly.
Well, you're not going to tell anybody who she is?
Can you let them guess, maybe?
Alex, could I have, who's the guest for $550? Thank you.
Yes, you may, Phil.
Okay. Is she Canadian?
Yes.
Does she bake cakes?
Absolutely.
Does she have something to do with Egypt?
Well, so in a roundabout way, yes.
And if you found it on the floor, would you pick one up?
Yes. And put it in my loafer.
So then it has to be Penny from Cleopatra Cakes.
That is right. We're so happy to have you back.
Oh, thank you.
She might leave before we even get started.
Yeah, she's going, oh, God, get me out of here. And we're very lucky because when you invite a beautiful cake artist over, she happened to bring cake.
Yes.
Always. You must always bring cake.
That's
Yes.
exactly that's why you're well loved. So we have a few fun facts that we talk about. Some are more fun than others. So Phil, do you want to start?
So the term cake has a long history.
Yes.
I don't know how long this is. The word is from the Viking origin. From the Old Norse word kaka. Is it kaka? K-A-K-A? It's kaka in my language.
Kaka. Do that, because then it doesn't sound like the other
Duty
version.
poo-poo, yeah. It was baking using flour, mixed eggs, milk, nuts, and honey.
Yum. Yum. And we have to go to the birthday candle on birthday cakes tradition. Oh, that's another thing we have to talk about, because birthday cakes are different at home. Like we do, it's a different sort of celebration cake we get. Not the, we'll get to that in a second. But the birthday candle tradition originated from ancient Greece, where people would take an ancient form of cake. I hope it was ancient at the time. Adorned with candles to the temple of Artemis. I have to go back to Clash of the Titans to remember my Greek pronunciation. The candles symbolize the moon, which was often associated with Artemis.
How did candles look like the moon? They look like stars. Okay,
I don't
next
know.
one.
I'm not. Yes. Okay.
Fun fact number 2.
Three.
Sweet dreams. During the 17th century in England, people believed that keeping fruit cakes under their pillow of those who are unmarried will give them sweet dreams about their fiancé.
Well.
And rats and mice.
This is a tradition that I didn't know came from the time I was a little kid. Every time we went to a wedding, we'd have the cake, because it's served as dessert rather than desserts usually, like at home or our side, to put a little bit in a napkin, take it home with you and put it under your pillow. So I have been sleeping with wedding cake under my pillow after every wedding since I can remember.
Is that next to your 3 teeth?
No, put it in the glass? No.
Okay.
But I remember, I was telling Brendan, we've been together for 35 years. It's one of those things he never knew about me until just the other day we were talking about this. But the best part about that was that I had early breakfast. Yeah. So I was slapping. It's a little bit flat, but it didn't matter.
And it's also, because they use fruit cakes,
Yeah, but I had chocolate, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know any American like fruit cakes. There's just something you give to somebody else. What's the use-by date on this? 1972. Okay. But it's also what traditionally the Brits, and I think probably the Australians, also make their wedding cakes out of. It's fruit cake.
It's fruit cake, or at least the top layer, because then you would save that for the...
Because nobody else wanted to eat it. No. And then you saved it for the following year or whatever.
Yes, but we moved. So we were moving in 2 weeks. So we ate the top layer the next day when we opened presents.
Oh.
Do you remember? He doesn't remember it.
No.
He doesn't remember anything. I do love him, though.
Okay, so I'll come back with our first light and introduce our special guest right after our first voice. Let's get the cake. Cut it. Just don't make me choose. Okay, we're back from having our piece of cake and another coffee. I wish. Anyway, so now I get to introduce Penny Bunz from Cleopatra Cake, also known as Sticky Buns. So
I set that one up, didn't I?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She gave me that influence.
Or this is a title that I've worn, not with the long-suffering wife of Stu. I love Stuart, one of my favorite people. Just kidding.
So Penny was with us at episode 5, Featured Food, one of our most popular podcasts, and Penny's own cake story. What is it? When was your first cake? When did you make your first cake?
Oh God, you mean way back, or just on my cake journey?
When did you make your first fancy cake?
How about your first fancy cake or your first cake for money?
Well, probably for a friend. I just brought a cake to someone's barbecue, and they liked the cake, and we're like, "Can you make me a birthday cake?" So that's probably where it started, and it was just a lot of cake fails, a lot of trial and error. A lot of trying to do things that were completely out of my depth and freaking out.
So
there was nothing on the internet back then. And it was a lot of just somebody's paying you, so you better make this work. So that's probably where I learned my biggest lessons was just, messing up a lot of cake.
Did you throw any cakes?
No, because I'm calm and professional.
That's right.
Okay.
And you do so. Well, you're artistic too. So
Yeah,
this is sort of
but
your
it's
medium.
yeah, that's right. And I worked a lot in clay sculpture, and that sort of medium was my favorite. So, but dealing with cake is something completely different. Oh god.
Well, you don't need the clay. but you could eat the
No, but I mean, actually carving the cake is probably the hardest part. The fondant part, the kneading and fondant and covering, that was easy for me. But the actual carving of cake and it crumbles, and you kind of have to find cake recipes that work for carving. And then making sure that you refrigerate things, and all of this was trial and error.
Yes, and in the meantime, you've had children.
Oh yes.
Actually, you were pregnant with Lola when you did my 40th birthday cake.
Yeah. And that's kind of when I really started getting into it. I had that little bit of time because I always worked. But I had that little bit of time to be creative and at home. And that's when I started getting into competitions, which is probably what really started pushing me as far as getting to be really creative. Because when you're working for customers, you're kind of working within their ideas, which is good because it's a starting point, but you don't necessarily get to explore your creativity as much. Mm-hmm. So that's when I really was able to push the envelope. And then as this whole cake decorating thing has become really popular with Ace of Cakes and Cake Boss and all these shows, and really big in Australia as well. There's amazing cake decorators in Australia. There was just a lot more to learn online. Mm. And I think online has really kind of developed cake makers a lot. You know, you're able to find tutorials on anything you want to create now.
Ooh, we have a yummy cake. Sorry, I'm just stunned by cake.
We just got cake.
So this is like a lover's cake.
Oh, yeah.
And for Valentine's Day.
Brokenhearted. Yeah, I was experimenting yesterday.
I can smell apple. Oh, what do I smell there?
Hang on.
Chocolate. Oh, maple.
Maple.
Maple
That's right, Canadian, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I had to give it my special touch.
You two keep talking because I'm
okay. So I can't eat and talk at the same time. So Barbara's gone now. She's got a mouthful of cake, but it smells absolutely fabulous. You really smell that maple flavor into it.
That's right.
Oh, I'm so happy.
It's just what every Canadian smells like.
I'm not going there. Okay.
It's true.
Look, I play hockey with a bunch of Canadians.
Do they smell like? Do they not smell like that?
No way.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful.
Nothing worse than the smell of a hockey player.
No, in the locker room. God. Yeah, but it just like goes away after a while. I don't even notice it now. That's another.
Luckily,
I digress.
No one in my family plays hockey, so I don't have to deal with that. 2 girls, so I don't have to deal with stinky shoes either. Now, you, like as I said, you made my beautiful birthday cake.
Yeah, and that was probably one of my first challenges. People would be like, can you do this? Can you make a purse? Can you make a giraffe? I'm like, yes, of course I can. And then I go home and go, oh, here we go.
And then I found out later, when I went away, a couple of my drunk friends went, oh my god, this is beautiful. I went to pick it up and lifted the handle out of it, and then they're like, oh my god, and then they tried to fit it back in, but then they hid under the stairs. It was very funny.
Oh, how funny.
It was late into the evening.
That's why we have terms and conditions for those situations. Once it leaves my hands, it's just not my problem.
That's right. And it wasn't. I only found out about it later. So in their drunken haze, they fixed it beautifully.
Oh, good job.
So thinking in my mind, where did all of this when was the first cake made to look like something else? You know, like you did your Cleopatra cakes and stuff like that. So I only could think of going back to New York.
Right.
And the Erotic Bakery was the first cake that was made to look like something.
Of course it's you.
What was it made to look like?
Well, use your imagination. It's a family show here.
Okay, sorry.
But this is going back like probably in the 70s. And that probably, think about it.
Yeah.
Nobody else was doing any fancy cakes like you're doing now, making them look like, fortresses or,
Well, I remember my mom making me cakes like that. And they usually would have like a
the Erotic Bakery?
No.
Not the Erotic Bakery cake. No. Mind out of the gutter.
No, I'm trying to get to the history when
it was a bunny.
When it really all this started. Really, because honestly, think about it. Before that, for those decorators. There was nobody decorating cakes other than what?
It was the sheet cake that had like the shell out, border and some roses, and we'd all fight over the roses.
Yeah, but that was around for yonks. That wasn't a cake to look like something else. No. Like you make for Thanksgiving, you make one look like a cornucopia or something like that, or a turkey.
Yeah.
Or you watch Cake Boss and they're making all these cakes that go with themes, like a firefighter. So prior to all that, who was the first one that started all this?
I don't know as far as the sculpting goes. But there's been piping was a big thing like nearly 100 years ago. Yeah. Really intricate piping. So as far as sculpted cakes, I actually don't know. Good question.
Yeah. I think I found the answer.
Let's ponder that.
You're shocking. Now I have to have.
I'm not shocking. I think it's we talk about history, and I think that's
a fair point.
That's a good part of history.
Well, here in Australia, there is the Women's Weekly kids cake book where they have that is the best thing to look up those fails because it's just like echidnas.
Yeah.
Little things, and they end up looking like frightened bad taxidermy.
Yeah.
The little tank engines or people making little trains and things. But we always, I think, had very simple. We had our lady. Oh, it's funny. Penny Bunz. The lady in my hometown, her name was Mrs. Bunch. Mrs. Bunch. And she made all the cakes. Even to this day, your mom will listen to this and she goes, remember the cake that I had Mrs. Bunch make you for your, 4th birthday? And she was the local cake maker. And it was all very simple. It was like basically a white or a yellow, whatever, some bordering, and then a happy birthday or congratulations, first communion, insert celebration here, all of that sort of stuff. And then it got a little bit fancier where they would put the edible pictures on it, or I think in the 80s they did a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing.
Cake, that was my favorite.
I mean, the only special cake that we ever had, of course, was birthday cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your name on it and stuff. And of course, you always eat that little sweet gelatin thing that they did your name in. That was pretty good.
That was very good.
And the flowers I didn't like because most of the flowers was done with like a buttercream.
Yeah.
And buttercream I could, the way that they were making it back then.
Yeah, it was shortening. Shortening.
Yeah, it tastes like Crisco.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I liked, Mrs. Bunch's buttercream flowers. I liked it. And if I was the birthday girl, my mom, you get to pick, I'd say I want that one. I want the corner one because there's always in the corner
the most flowers.
Yeah, that's my spot right there. So the other kids are like, okay, not the middle. There's nothing more sad than a sheet cake getting the middle bit where the frosting's just only that thin layer on top.
Yeah.
But the cake was so yummy too.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah,
it tasted lovely.
Yeah.
Now we'll get into the top 10 cakes in the U.S. and now we'll just bring in some Canadian ones in there as well. So what you grew up with too, just yell out as we're talking.
Yeah.
And some of these I didn't know very well. Some of them I did. But again, I think it was our second episode when someone talked about gooey butter cake.
Yes.
So it's raised its head again.
I'm still waiting for somebody to make that. Hint. No.
Oh my God.
What is it?
I think from what I can read.
It just sounds good.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds very much like a blondie. It sounds like a cake that went wrong, like a brownie.
Yeah.
And it was flattened and it's ooey and gooey and buttery.
Dense.
Yes.
Yum.
So it started in St. Louis. Now, Teresa Rose, who came and talked to us about Thanksgiving, they start their kind of Thanksgiving morning with gooey butter cake. So you can make it for breakfast. Cake for breakfast is not a sin. That's legit.
It's like having a muffin for breakfast. That's okay, right?
That is okay. The other one, my favorite, angel food cake. So that one, it's very sweet. So there's lots of sugar, but there's no fat in it. So there's no egg yolks in it.
Oh, and it's got the best texture.
It does. And you rip it. You don't cut it.
There's no flour in it neither, right?
Oh, very little flour. And it just rises beautifully. And the two ways, there's actually sort of these forks with very thin tines that you can buy to rip the cake open.
And you need a special pan to make it.
Yes.
Because when I came over here from Canada, I went to USA Foods and bought the angel food cake mix and then had to buy the special pan, which you tip upside down.
That's right. You have to hang it over a bottle sometimes if it won't sit right. And also with that, I didn't know it's probably bad for you, could kill you. But Podestos, which I mention often when they do their angel food cake, like Mom would buy one of those and occasionally we just snack on it during the week. But they used to they didn't have a bundt cake pan. They used to put like a styrofoam coffee cup in the middle.
Oh.
And it didn't melt. It baked.
Oh.
I don't know who was the genius who thought of that first, but now I'm just wondering
Maybe
how
they
many
just put
cells have been destroyed. And then we go on to,
a German chocolate cake.
Oh, yum.
which is yum.
Yes.
That's big in Canada.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't
With
that
a lot of
so?
Germans.
Well, that would make.
I don't
know.
know. Is it? I mean, I don't know what makes it German.
Oh, well, actually, hang on.
I don't know, because
It
coconut
was-
doesn't come from Germany. You know, the icing
They're
was
like
coconut
nuts,
pecan.
maybe.
I can tell you.
Oh.
What, the cherries?
Sam German is the dude.
Oh.
Oh.
So instead of, and it was a baker's chocolate competition,
Oh.
and he made it for that.
So name came from the guy.
Not the
His name is German, his last name. It's sort of
Sam
like
German.
Thomas's English muffins.
That's
They're
right.
not English because his name was Thomas English.
There
Oh.
you go. I did not know that. I think that's going to say that every episode. So the coconutty texture on the outside, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And it's supposed to have peanuts or pecans in it, but I
Right.
usually have it, when I've had it, it hasn't had the nutty goodness in it.
Well, it's supposed to be on the icing, right? The pecans, I think. Not in the cake, because in the cakes is like a
No, it's just like a chocolate cake.
chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And then with cherries. You know, like a layer of cherry.
No,
Like,
that's
cherries.
that's a Bavarian?
That's a Bavarian one.
Well, okay, still German.
Well, yeah, that's right. Or it wouldn't be bad with a layer of cherries in it. Stuff it. It's, Sam can just deal with it. We'll just do it that way. And then we move on to in king cake, Louisiana. So I'm going to get corrected twice a year. At the Epiphany and during Mardi Gras. So they do king cake, which is really a yeasty bread cake. So it's like a sticky bun in a way. And it's decorated in the Mardi Gras colors. So it has yellow, green, and purple. And they hide like a little baby Jesus in there somewhere. So if you get that, I don't know if it's good luck or not, but that's sort of a traditional.
I get to see the little kid. Boy, he's choking. Oh, you give him the high man. Oh,
Jesus. I'm not blaspheming.
Well, that's where it was born.
That's right.
And then one said, you know what we could do? We could put the baby Jesus in the cake.
That's exactly right. So that, I think that goes back to here when you have plum pudding, they stick things in it that you can choke on.
Or birthday cakes always would have money. Did you have that when you were a little kid?
No.
Oh, well, maybe that's a Canadian
There you
tradition.
go.
We hopefully your parents wrapped them up in little bits of plastic or foil. Some of the birthday parties I went to, I was like, oh, just had the dirty money just stuck right in. The moms would stab a little hole in the cake and then put the money all through the cake, so all the kids would get money in their slices of cake at the birthday party.
I think the
cool.
Aussies were doing that also
did they?
with the fruitcake on.
Oh, is that where it came from?
And
Maybe
Christmas.
it's a British thing.
Yeah.
It could be.
But
Yeah.
we did it with normal cake, which is better.
Yeah, that's right.
'Cause
We
we
didn't
didn't
have
With
the
plum
good
pudding,
fruitcake.
not fruitcake.
Nobody
Plum
likes
pudding they were doing that with.
Yeah, that's where it must come from.
I just keep thinking how I'd crack a tooth. But
Well, as a kid, you were hoping for it. You're like, this cake. We're at this birthday party. There better be some money in this cake. I'm out of here.
I was like, how much pressure to cut the cake to make sure everyone got some? And ice cream cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you like the ice cream cake that is all ice cream, or do you like it with the layer of cake in it?
Definitely. Oh, ours had we had a Dairy Queen, which was the place
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
to get all the ice cream cakes, and it had more of a crunchy sort of base layer, so like a cookie.
Yep.
And then it had the layers of ice cream. It was yum.
Oh,
So yeah, I like the whole combo.
see, we've talked. Penny and I have talked about how a cake being frozen doesn't stop us from eating it if we really want it,
Right,
right? So
It's a cold cake.
it's a cold cake. That's just a very cold cake. But that's what I like, because our local, I think it was Baskin Robbins, did like a thin layer of actual vanilla or chocolate cake and then layers of ice cream. And then they always put the chocolate sauce. So when that was frozen, it was like a ganache sort of, oh my God. But I always love that because I like the texture of the frozen cake because I don't like melty ice cream.
Mhm.
at all. So I could eat it all solid, give myself a headache, and
But we had in New York, we had Carvel,
yes,
which was the soft serve. But they used to do the ice cream cakes were done beforehand, and they had this form, right? And the form went for like every holiday.
Oh,
So they just moved it around from top to bottom, but it was the same thing. So Tom Carvel used to come up with his crackly voice of, Daddy the Whale Day. For Father's Day, you had the whale of a dad. So it looked like a whale that day, and then they turned it around and looked like something else for another day. But their ice cream, so they used to use like this, almost like a cookie type thing that was crunchy, and put down as a layer, then put the soft serve on it, and layered it that way, and then froze it. So the soft serve now was hard ice cream, and then they would decorate the top with a name or something, or to make it look like a whale.
Something cool. I just, and it was very exciting when you go to a kid's birthday, like another birthday party. You go, oh my God, they've got the ice cream cake.
Yeah,
and you can now, if anyone has TikTok, as a Dairy Queen, there are about 5 different people that posts them making cakes. To sell at the Dairy Queen. So they do the ice cream cake. So they fill it up and they put different, toppings now. They kind of mix-ins, they call them. Yeah. And I think I probably wasted about a half hour just looking at 1-minute videos. Like, oh, that'd be good. That'd be really good.
I remember in that era, that was pretty much every birthday party was a Dairy Queen ice cream cake. Because you could just moms could just go to the cooler and grab the cake. And then they, put the name or whatever on it. And that was
then for Christmas, they had the log cake, which is an ice cream cake looked like a log. It was just a flat, and they rolled it up. Yeah. It looked like a Yule log.
Yule log.
Yule. You'll like it too. Like a Yule log, but was an ice cream cake.
Well, I think that is an American tradition. Or North American. Let me correct that. I'm sorry, not to offend my neighbor from the north. Now we've got another cake that I found the history of why it's called this. Boston cream pie, which is not a pie, it's a cake.
Yeah.
But they came with pie because before they had cake tins, they used to use pie tins to make the 2 layers, which then has custard or cream patisserie in it.
And chocolate.
And chocolate on top.
I always ate it in donut form, so I'm not as familiar with the cake. I'll take it in any form.
I used to get excited when we go to a restaurant. It was usually like a steakhouse, like Black Angus or something, that would have a Boston cream pie dessert thing. Because I do read the menu. I look at the desserts first and work my way backwards to make sure I'm still up for that at the end. So I would check that out. And it's one of my favorites. We also have Devil's Food Cake. Yeah. Which is very popular. People come to us for
Devil's Food Cake.
For Devil's Food Cake mixes, which was made as an opposite to Angel Food Cake.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a bit more red, isn't it? In color, reddy brown color, not like a red velvet.
That's right. It's got like the Dutch cocoa and chocolate in it, so it's very dense, but it's not mud cake.
Yeah, no, it's not dense like that. Yeah.
And it's got beautiful chocolate frosting on it. That's so good. And Phil, you can talk about the next one because
New York style. Well, New York style, because New York style means it's not made there, but New York cheesecake.
Well, and the first one was done
in Junior's.
Yes, in the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's so heavy, that cake. It's just full of cream cheese. And then I remember my aunts, when they were back in the day, going down to Florida, for 2 weeks, and then coming up, there was a place like the Fontainebleau or whatever, and made these outrageous cheesecakes, and they used to bring them back.
Oh wow!
From Florida, and everybody, because it was a whole big deal. They're coming back from Florida and the airplane and and go to their house and have the cake, and coffee, when they got back. It was just so good. But Junior's is still there. They're in Penn Station and stuff. So whenever we could get back to America, you got to have a piece of Junior's cheesecake.
And Jeanette makes a great version of it too.
Yeah,
and
she does a copycat recipe.
She does the cake on the bottom, doesn't she?
It's the graham cracker on the
graham
bottom.
Cracker.
Yeah, it has to have the graham cracker on the bottom.
Yum. Yeah. I just like how dense it is. And I actually don't like refrigerated cheesecake.
I mean, you could have it plain. You could have it with cherries on it or strawberries. You know, it's just as good no matter which way you have it.
No, it's magnificent.
Yeah, as opposed to, which is a bit of a shock, when you have your first Italian cheesecake.
With the ricotta.
Yeah, but it's lighter and it's baked and it's totally different texture and taste and everything. But the best one I had was a place, and you would have heard them at one of the episodes on The Sopranos.
Yeah, I was going to say Soprano.
They went to the Manor.
Oh, yes.
In Orange, New Jersey. And I try to say it like a New Jersey. Orange. Yeah, Orange, New Jersey, called the Manor. And this is was always like the top place to go. Very expensive and stuff like that.
So when Tony and Carmela were having a fight over the psychologist, I think.
And they went to the Manor. So they did a Italian cheesecake with a glaze on it that was very sliced thin orange through it on the glaze. So you had the skin and everything, but it was like, paper thin, and it was just covered with that. It was outstanding. The best
that would
one
be beautiful with the ricotta.
Oh, yeah.
But there are two different styles. Like if you were if you were thinking in your brain that you want a New York style cheesecake and you have ricotta cake, you're not going to get the same hit. No, you have to treat it differently. And it is so delicious, but it's I wouldn't compare the two really.
Yeah, because it's also one is high in fat.
Yeah, and Philadelphia cream cheese too.
And the other will be low fat.
I think it's a specific flavor.
Much lighter.
It's protein rich though.
Yeah,
that's good for your bones.
Lots of calcium.
Right. That's exactly right. And then we've got red velvet cake. So I did not grow up with red velvet cake. It hadn't crossed any borders.
No.
It wasn't a thing.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, it's a new thing. And
or revived
it's
thing
a
that was
southern
just
thing,
big.
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing a bit of research on it, do you know what part of the resurgence of it was steel magnolias.
Oh.
Okay, now do you remember?
I love them.
Do you remember that line? It was the wedding, and she goes, "Look at that. She's got an armadillo groom's cake with red velvet. Who makes gray icing? Look at that. Looks like it." What did she say? Looks like an autopsy.
Yeah, and then after that, then they came out with blue velvet cake,
Yes.
pink velvet cake. I think those are all gone now.
They're not in vogue. But the thing is, it's a buttermilk cake, so it's a different crumb to it. So the velvet is actually speaking about the texture of it. And there is controversy about being red. So one of the first ones is, rather than Dutch processed cocoa, the regular cocoa that's not processed, that can have a reaction with and it's a redder sort of chocolate. It has a reaction with the vinegar that you put in it, in the cake, and it turns it sort of red. So it made it like a reddy color.
So it's not red number 4 dye.
Well, and then later on, it was sticking a whole bottle of food coloring in it to make it so red. But the icing is different as well. So here we see the frosting as, what do you think is the normal one?
Oh, cream cheese frosting.
Cream cheese. Well, it's actually a cooked...
Oh, the ermine frosting.
The ermine frosting.
Which
so
is like
tell us about that. Yeah.
It's like a cooked frosting with flour. You almost make like a roux, and you cook it, and then you add in your butter. You let it cool first. It's like a custardy flour roux, and then you let it. I've only done it once or twice, so I don't know the complete process off the top of my head. But like a custard roux, you then let it chill, and then you put it back in your mixer, and you add your butter.
Right.
And your flavorings.
So that sounds like that would be too hard to send across the country for everyone to do. So a nice cream cheese goes nicely.
Yeah.
And they also used boiled beets to get the color.
I've seen people do that, trying to be healthier. Yeah. You still don't get that same intensity.
No, you have to put the whole bottle in there and just cross yourself and only eat it twice a year.
Yeah.
I'll stay away from the beets.
Yes, no, Phil would not do that. He's got a beet allergy. Now, this one, lava cake. Molten cake. So they're saying this happened, as all great things come from an accident, which it is. The middle is undercooked cake.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you have to make sure you get it out early. But I think I'm doubting that we came up with that. I'm thinking, although saving a mistake and making it something that's what I meant to do is sort of an American trait of ours.
Yeah, hey, just call it something else. It's not cooked in the middle. Joey, what are you going to do? Hey.
That's right.
It's all leaking out. It looks like a fountain. Call it fountain cake. No, I don't like that name. Yeah.
Lava cake.
Lava.
But I don't remember seeing it around. So maybe that's a
Yeah.
regional thing. I remember seeing it here
Yeah.
when I came here.
I think
Yeah.
it's also something in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So, oh God, we've been away too
You know, but
long.
you got all these companies, you know, like the big company like Duncan Hines and General Mills and all that. They're always trying to come out with something new, you know, just to keep things more current and sell
Keep
things.
it moving.
You keep things moving. You always have to have 25% of your products in the year have to be new or improved.
Well, you know how excited even all of us get when we haven't had something at work, we haven't had something for a while, or it's brand new. We're like, ooh, everyone come look.
Wait till you see the next batch of Oreos.
Oh.
Here's a little preemptive on that.
Yes.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, have we procured some?
We have
Maybe.
2 suppliers that said they're bringing them.
Because, you know, they're hard to get in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know,
I've
so,
asked 2 of them, so hopefully we will get the Lady Gaga.
and it'll be a fight to the death in the
Yes.
street to who gets them.
What's in the Lady Gaga?
They're pink, I think.
Oh,
they're like,
Pink and
yeah,
purple, I think. I have to look
Oh.
again. But they're like the Oreo flavor,
yeah.
but just different coloring, special Gaga coloring, but not her meat dress. They didn't do that. Now, I have, and I think there's a time we can throw in a few things. So these are the top 10 cakes, but I think we've forgotten a few, which is coffee cake, which Phil
Yeah.
loves,
Love
and
coffee
I
cake.
love.
Yeah.
And there's bunt cakes.
rum cake.
Bunt. Bunt.
Oh,
Bunt,
bunt.
a
Yeah,
bunt
well,
cake.
I'm just going on. You say bunt, I say rum. Rum cake, bunt cake. 2 different cakes.
Right, rum cake was on the list.
Yeah.
And there's like my regional ones, like we talked about coffee crunch cake, which I love, and marzipan cakes, sort of Midwest. So there's different ones.
How about hummingbird cake?
Yes, that is me.
Oh, I think that might be my favorite.
Oh, so tell me, how would you make a hummingbird cake?
Oh my
They're
god.
little birds.
No, you don't kill the bird.
So it's like banana cake, but then it's got all these add-ins.
Pineapple. Is
Yeah,
it
the pineapple and the coconut and cream cheese icing.
Mm,
Oh.
that was
Which is like the carrot cake when you add in
Raisins.
you can add the raisins, coconut, and a tin of the pineapple.
Yeah.
You get a similar sort of texture.
Yeah, see, that's not
So
on here.
it's
I
like
would
a-
think that would have been one of the 10
Yeah.
cakes is carrot cake.
Yeah.
yeah, I would think
Above
so
a
too.
lot
But there's all
few of
different
these others
renditions,
here.
isn't there, of the carrot cake?
Yeah,
I
there
think
is.
that's not a purist. I think the purist doesn't have the pineapple in it.
Oh no, the
No.
pineapple
No,
makes it
pepper-
good.
No,
So
they would
good.
have the raisins, the carrots, lots of oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of oil. Yep.
And you know, we like where I lived. There's a big apple area called Apple Hill, sort of north of Sacramento,
Mm.
and the apple cakes.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
So that's just so many apples. The batter is just holding it together,
Yeah.
and that's also in bunt
Yeah.
form. And there's a bunt cake. It's a franchise. And
Oh, yes.
you know, and so it's like famous sort of, and the way they do the piping, and so that is a big deal too. I think
Yeah.
that's like the
Yeah.
quintessential American cake.
Underrated.
We had that in Georgia. Our
Mhm.
friend said, you got to try this cake. We went in there. You can buy it like by the slice.
Yes.
It's like $5 a slice.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Well, and I think they do the whole pudding in it, and they do the
Yeah.
whole like, or if you get a tunnel, because it's called a tunnel cake, which is the bunt cake with filling.
Mm.
So then you put like a
Mm.
chocolate in the pudding in the middle. Oh my
Really
God.
nice cake.
It's so good. And poke cake. There's a 70s classic for you.
I never had a poke.
Okay.
I don't know if we had those, but I know there was a Jello pudding. We had the one with
Jell-O?
with actual like Jello, the gelatin.
Yes.
Not just.
Yes.
Did you have that one?
Yes. So it's
With,
like
and whipped cream as the topping.
yep. So
Oh,
you get
so
a
good.
white cake.
Yeah.
And it has to be in a lasagna pan.
Yeah, it's going to be a sheet cake.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing fancy here.
No.
And then you stick a whole bunch of holes in it,
And he put a Jello.
and you pour the Jello
My
in it.
sister used to make that, a lemon one like that. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
I always, I always like this. Let's do that. I always
it's a
like the
textural
strawberry.
thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? But it
And-
doesn't really go super gelatinous.
No,
No,
it
it's
no.
goes
more
through
like
the cake. It
Yeah.
soaks the cake.
It's really good.
It does. And it's quick and it's
Yeah,
fancy.
it's a good summer thing.
They've come out with fancy versions because when I was like poke cake, I looked at it. You can now do salted caramel,
Mm.
chocolate pudding,
Yeah,
like lemon curd. But look, I really want the Betty Crocker white box cake and some
Yeah.
strawberry jello.
Yeah.
And just do it that way.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like how you make
You're going to be
rum
busy
cake.
in the next few days.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to invest in more elastic waistbands.
Yes.
So those things I think we kind of missed. There is a difference in the way you make cakes. And Penny probably can really jump in on this one. But I found cakes here are very sort of British style, where it's butter and it's a heavier crumb.
Or a sponge. It's one or the other.
Yep.
It's dense like a mud cake or a sponge.
That's right.
Or a fruit cake.
And I miss, so a lot of times we use vegetable oil.
Yeah.
And different amounts of eggs, and it's a lighter crumb.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not as heavy to eat.
No.
That's why I think my husband's family, every time I cut pieces of cake, they're like, "Oh my God, that's too big." But I'm like, no, it's like spongy. It's
Spongy,
not.
yeah,
It's lighter,
light.
yeah.
And I'm just like, don't eat it all. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's how I have to cut it. I'll have to lose my license for cooking. Or we have a chiffon style.
Yeah.
Like
the
orange
angel-
chiffon cake.
Yeah.
And
That's light, right?
Yeah.
it's tall.
Well,
And you can do that with oil as well. The angel food doesn't have any, but that's a real Southern sort of thing.
And
as well.
Asian as well.
Yes,
the
'cause they
Asians love
do,
chiffon cakes.
Like a taro and
Yeah.
and what's the green?
Matcha.
No,
No?
yes, but there's another one which is a fruit. I'm trying to think.
Oh,
It'll come
okay.
to me. But it's a beautiful light cake as well. And when I first came here, and I think a lot of Americans and North Americans that come here and they buy our cake mixes at the store, those
Yeah.
are made to make 2 layers. So if you go in here and buy off the shelf a regular cake mix here, not only is it not the right sort of crumb, but they also only make 1 layer.
Yeah,
So-
I noticed that too when I first came here. And then before I got into cake making and wanted to just make a box cake, it wasn't the same crumb at all. And you're right, it didn't make as much until I went over to USA Foods and I grabbed the Duncan Hines
That's
off of
right.
that. And I thought, oh, this is what I'm used to. It's a softer crumb.
Mhm.
And yeah, it makes more cake.
And actually, it's funny. I'll save it. We're talking about because there's tricks to make the box cake taste a bit more homemade.
Yeah.
Frostings I found different here as well. A lot of like tea cakes that would just have the cinnamon and sugar on it.
Yeah.
Lots of fondant before it was fancy. Like wedding cakes was all the marzipan icing and the fondant. And
Yeah,
fruit cake.
yeah.
And the last 15 years, I think people have branched out.
When I first started learning cake making
Yes.
and cake decorating, they were teaching you to put marzipan as the first layer, like you would with a fruit cake, and then put your rolled fondant over top, which is not something we do at all anymore because ganache is a really big thing here.
Yes.
And so most cake makers use ganache because it's fantastic. It's makes a really smooth surface so that when you use fondant, you get those crisp, lovely edges. And it's really great for sculpted cakes in particular because it's solid. It firms up really nicely, and you can keep it at room temperature as well.
And the 2 layers of the fondant and the marzipan is so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just
too much of that. I don't like
I'm
this.
the nut that likes the marzipan when I pick off the fondant and eat them. Are you done with that? Let me just look at that a little bit. But I missed like a 7-minute frosting. So one that you like.
Is that the cooking? The
You
cooking
cook
one
it?
my mom used to make.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like a mountain frosting, I think it's called, or
Yeah.
a 7-minute. So you kind of beat it as you cook it.
And does it have it doesn't have butter in it, does it?
I don't think
I'm
it
not
does.
sure. It's like more like a meringue.
That's
sort of
right.
thing.
Paula Dean uses it and use it with coconut cakes.
Yeah, right.
That's another one.
It's almost like an Italian meringue, but not as fancy.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And but you wouldn't find buttercream. I love, and I missed those birthday cakes. And I will admit to being, because it's a flavor, and I'm cheap, and it might be tacky. But when Costco opened, and I could buy a Costco birthday cake, and it tasted like the birthday cake I had when I was 11.
Yeah, because they use the same
Yeah,
recipe.
that's exactly right. I was so happy.
And that shortening based buttercream we grew up with.
That's exactly right, which isn't as sweet.
No, that's true.
So maybe that's why I liked it. So
it's the American buttercream, which is really sweet
Really
with the
sweet.
powdered sugar,
and sheet cakes we don't really have, except for Costco, where you go in and you buy the
Yeah.
half sheet, where it's like in for birthday cakes.
Yeah, just never made it here,
No, and you just we would have that if you're leaving work, if you're having a baby, if you're having a birthday.
Because you put a lot on it. You go right there.
Yeah.
Magna Carta on it, and
that's
and
right.
It feeds 100 people.
Dear Stephen, good luck on your new adventure.
Right.
It's been so nice having you in the accounting office.
Yeah.
And so I think we celebrate probably more with cakes. As a people, I think our offices, we celebrate more with food. Like you bring in cakes or donuts or whatever. So I found those, and not having a local bakery that I could just buy like my favorite cake.
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss a decorated, frosted, a little bit fancy cake that I could just pop in and grab and just say, okay, we'll have that.
Well, even like the birthday cakes in New York, because we went to Italian bakeries, and the fillings were to die for.
Yes.
And the place by work.
Oh, I'm so lucky. I had the best birthday cake.
Yeah.
This year.
They're Italian bakery, and they do a really good job with their filling. And so we got the base filling and rum and stuff into it.
Yum.
That it soaks through the cake, actually.
Oh, it's so busy, and you have to be careful that you make sure you have that 2 hours before you drive home because it's soaked.
But we said, any kid's birthday, have the same cake.
Yeah, I remember having rum cake as a kid. It didn't hurt me that I know of. So
I feel I've missed out.
we'll have to do rum cakes.
I think we might need some rum cake in my future.
That's okay. I'm sure. Hey, we've got a birthday coming up in our house. All right,
Barbara's gonna hook us up, so we're all good.
We get Jeanette's Bacardi rum cake.
Yes,
recipe.
Jeanette makes a chocolate one.
Yeah, the chocolate.
Oh,
Bacardi.
yeah.
And my mom makes a vanilla one. So we should do both. Have a cake off.
Have a black and white.
Black and white cake.
Mm-hmm.
Black and white. So now I think those are any other differences that you find when you're getting stuff or cake flour, actually.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing. I've got a cake flour that I use, but that was something that I had to hunt down.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely ingredients. Shortening was a big thing. And when I first started using, because I was following a lot of, when I finally was able to find things on the internet, I was following a lot of North American cake makers.
Yes.
Cake decorators, because it's kind of more the recipes that I was used to growing up with. And so it was hard to find like shortening.
Yes.
Crisco.
Yeah, Crisco.
Yeah, something that was now I can find, and I've got suppliers where I can get wholesale amounts of Crisco, or shortening. But that was something that I always had trouble finding.
Yeah.
And I use it just as a tool as well, not just to bake cakes, but I use it in the actual decorating as well.
Yeah, and people call us for that all the time because you can't nothing here translate because it's flavorless.
Yeah.
So if you try to use kofa, it just tastes like coconut.
And you've got to soften it up too.
Yeah.
Kofa's hard.
Yeah.
And some of the high ratio shortenings in the cake what do you call it? Wholesalers?
Yeah.
They crust over time, whereas I find the Crisco doesn't. It just stays soft.
Yeah.
So
and you can fry chicken in it too.
No, you can.
They say
I've
on the
never
boxes,
done that,
baking
actually, 'cause-
is better. Everything's better with Crisco, or baking is better with Crisco.
Have you fried chicken?
Yes.
I've
Yeah,
never
that's a
done
big
it
thing.
because
They always
it's.
fry chicken with it.
Yeah, I know they do.
There's no flavor at all, so it's a really clean.
I know. I've seen watching Southern cooks make it, and since I've watched those, I've been here, and Crisco's so dear in price that I'm like, I ain't using. I'm not using my Crisco for fried chicken.
If you feel fancy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Well, I think that's about all I can think of at the moment. But there is it affects celebrations is sort of what I want to say, because a cake is a special thing. Although like today I feel special because we're having little bits of special cakes. The other sort of cake that is a cake by another name is a muffin.
Which is really just cake.
It is just a cake that you can eat at breakfast. You might have streusel on it.
Yeah.
Like a coffee cake, which is usually cinnamon crumb on it in the middle.
And then they try to make it healthy, putting bran in it.
I always really liked bran muffins as a kid because I could slather it in so much butter.
Butter. That's right.
So really, it was a carriage for the butter.
Yeah.
That is exactly. I remember that because I've never had a bran muffin here, like what I can
No,
have.
they're
really
North
heavy
American. Yeah.
and almost molassesy or something, and you
Yes.
rip them open, and so much butter.
And warmed up as
Yeah.
And corn muffins,
Yes.
What I used to
Oh, yeah, my
also
mom used to
enjoy.
make
Remember
those.
they came out with the corn muffins that you could put in a toaster.
No.
No.
Yeah, so they were a size of about that size.
Yes.
Could you see that there?
Yeah.
So the size of I don't
the
know.
top of bigger than the circumference of a coffee mug.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And it was like the size of an Eggo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were able, in the thickness, and able to put it in the toaster and then pop it up and then put butter on it. Oh,
We also called that Johnny Cake.
yeah.
Have
Johnny
you heard
Cake's
the
on the
Johnny
grill.
Cake,
Yeah.
but in a cake form instead of a muffin? And we would often have that with something savory or with something sweet. So you could put something maple syrup on it if you wish,
Yeah.
or you can have it with chili con carne and with
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
stew or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or crumble it up and put it in your stuffing for your turkey.
Turkey.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
that's
So versatile.
Corn is
corn.
awesome.
yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
civilization.
And it just brings me also way back to when I was a kid going to at school and taking like the lunch break, and we were able to go to the neighborhood luncheonette, you know, and they always had the hot griddle, you know, that they do all their cooking on. And they used to get the corn muffins, slice them in half, put butter on each side, and put them on the griddle.
Yeah.
And then you get it, and it's crunchy. That
Yeah.
it was just so good.
Right. I should have made that
Yeah.
because I've got some corn muffin mix in the cupboard. I could have busted out for
You're
that
going to
one.
be busy.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we have so the typical ones besides the bran and the corn, which slightly is like blueberry, banana, orange poppy seed.
Yeah.
And then you can do the whole savory thing where you've got like spinach and feta and cheese, and you got the chocolate ones, all of that, and but you should feel guilty having it because it's not healthy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I personally think I would rather go have a slice of
Pizza?
a slice of chocolate, my stepfather's favorite yellow cake with chocolate frosting.
That's a really American cake. And
That is, isn't it?
I'm thinking we must have had it, but that's not a cake you see over here.
No, that's right. Herman always, his birthday cakes.
Butter golden.
Is it just because of the egg yolks that make it yellow?
Yeah.
No, it's the
No.
food coloring.
And,
Do you add food coloring to it?
well,
Well,
no,
the
if I'm
box
making it
already
from,
has it.
The box
The
has
box
it.
would,
If I'm making
yeah.
it from scratch, it's just egg yolks.
Yeah.
Because if I make a silver cake or a white cake, another name, Betty,
Oh.
Betty, I'll bust out my cookbook for you. But that's no yolks,
Okay.
so that's why it's white.
Yes.
But yeah, Herman, I love it because I just love that, and it's like a milk chocolate. It's not the dark chocolate, so milk chocolate with the yellow cake.
Yeah.
So good.
Yum.
And then on to snack cakes.
Yeah. Now everybody has their favorite snack cakes that they
Yes.
grew up with, and it
Yes.
depends on the region. So when we grew up in New York, we had Hostess.
Yeah.
But we always seen advertisements for Tasty Cake because the broadcast goes into parts of New Jersey that border Pennsylvania, and that's what Tasty Cake was.
Right.
But you couldn't find them. So, but we always seen the advertisements for Tasty Cakes. But my favorite, was before Coffee Cake, which is now Ring Dings, which is like the size of a hockey puck. It looks
Is that
like
the
one.
ding dongs?
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah, it's a ding dong.
Yeah, it's a ding dong.
And I used to. There's a way to eat ding dongs and ho hos.
Yeah.
You peel the chocolate off first.
Oh.
So if I get a ho, because I didn't get them that often, I had to make it last. And they actually used to be in the real foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the plastic. So you undo the foil.
Yeah.
And then you pick all the chocolate off.
And it was so
The
good,
waxy
Joy. It's so
chocolate.
much different than what they're
And-
doing now.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
roll it. Then you just like pick it off and sort of roll it out and eat it.
And the other one was Devil Dogs. Devil
never
Dogs,
had those.
they were the size of, a little bit size of a Twinkie, made with a very dry, I got to say, it was dry as can be, chocolate cake,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That you would choke.
Yeah.
Okay, it was that type of thing.
You need milk with
And-
it.
Yeah, and it had a cream filling in the middle.
Yeah. They all had cream
Actually,
filling, didn't they?
it was two slices. It wasn't injected.
Okay.
It was two pieces and a cream filling, and it stuck together. So when you bite on
Sandwich.
it, it went out the other way.
Yeah.
But you would choke on it. It was that dry. It was.
It was probably more real cake for it to actually go
That's
dry.
what
I think if
exactly.
it's got all those preservatives and who knows what,
Yeah.
it probably stays fresh forever.
Look, about every 3 or 4 years, I tried Twinkie again.
No.
And I go, you know
I
what?
can't.
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
No,
But
I never,
but
it's too
that's-
dry.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta try it. But they used to have chocodiles. And it was a crocodile dressed like the Twinkie dude.
Yeah.
And it was a chocolate covered Twinkie.
So it actually just looked like
It looked like a poo.
like a poo.
That's right. And I remember trying
I'm thinking, That doesn't look good.
No, and I remember eating that going, what a waste of chocolate. But my little parochial school, St. Bernard's, when I got to go to high school, first place I saw vending machines. Like they were in the cafeteria. I'm like, praise be.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Now they're not there anymore because they're not correct, because they have too many things that kids like in it.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So can I just say where I would go, I'll have a Pepsi, and then I'll have a Hostess cake,
Yeah.
and then I might have that 2-pack of cupcakes. So maybe it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But they're not
Oh, we're
there
so
anymore.
similar, Barbara.
Yeah, now it's been replaced by seltzer water, apples,
Granola.
and granola. Yeah.
Yes. So,
What's wrong with this
Oh
generation?
my God, they don't understand. We were just raised by wolves. It's just like, go out, take care of yourself. But the people still, Little Debbie's, that's the thing that I had heard of, but I had never seen until we got them into work. And they have like honey buns and they're little.
I don't know where they originate from, but I never had them neither.
No, and I actually quite like them, and they do those Christmas cakes. So they do one like with a hard icing on it. So a little bit different, but look, mostly the same. But like they're Swiss rolls, they're ho-hos.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
They all copy everybody else.
And it was kind of special being able to have that in my lunch because, that was the days where I got like a little Ziploc bag of, because there's no cafeteria, Ziploc bag of wheat thins. Yeah. And then Mom would roll up some ham for me because I was fancy. I didn't want a sandwich. And then that, and then you'd have.
Those are Lunchables now.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I saw this thing the other day. It's like charcuterie boards are just really expensive Lunchables. Fair play.
It used to be called antipasta.
That's what I still call it that because I can't say that word very well all the time. But it was a real special thing for me to get like ho-hos. And you could trade that for something good.
Yeah.
But,
I might have got caught for shoplifting Hostess Twinkie cakes when I was 10.
At 10.
10.
That's
Is that too old?
Not yet.
That's the start of a shoplifting career. About
That's
the age of
right.
10?
So you're still at it.
Oh, I got busted. No.
no.
The instinct just completely left me.
I would
But
rather.
it was there for years. So I could just. Like getting busted is not a good thing.
But,
No.
Twinkies, I think
Not
that's
back
fair.
in the
It's
day
not
when,
earrings. It's
when
food.
parents were allowed to hit you.
And your parents' friends were allowed to, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the nuns.
And we were actually, when you were talking about the corn muffins in the toaster, there's two Seinfeld episodes that go with this. First of all, Jerry bribes Newman. Newman. Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Newman with a Drake's coffee cake. Just a single one. And the other one made me think of Elaine when she owned the business that just had the muffin tops.
Oh, the muffin tops, yes.
Oh,
And they threw the stumps away.
Yeah.
No one wants the stumps.
that's so true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You either like the top or the bottom.
Yeah.
But that's especially when you go back to the bran muffins.
Yeah.
You just pick because it's all crunchy on the edge and they kind of go
Yes.
over. Oh, yeah. God bless Jerry
So good.
Seinfeld. What would we do without him? And then we go on to quick breads, which is really a muffin by another name, which is a cake by another name.
Yes.
So it's in a loaf tin, and you try to put some healthy ingredients in it. But really, there's
Do
eggs
they only
and
call
sugar.
it a bread because it's done in a bread tin?
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, like, look, banana bread.
Yeah.
That's
Cake.
Or they also call them quick breads if they don't have yeast.
right. Too.
Well,
Yeah.
But it's a cake.
Like a scone. Yeah, but yeah.
or beer bread.
A beer bread. That's what I was just thinking. A beer bread, or they do soda in it too now.
Oh,
So if you don't-
why? Just do the beer and the butter.
Yeah. But if you want it
Keep
sweeter.
the butter on top.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the quick breads, like banana bread's probably the first one
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
made. Then you've got pumpkin bread, which is really good because you've got
I
all
love
this,
pumpkin
yeah,
bread.
and you
Yeah.
do all
Like a
this.
spice cake.
But
Yeah.
I think it's actually, I have to say that I use Australian pumpkins, the Kent pumpkins for my pumpkin cakes and
Right.
breads and that. And I like them so much better than the pumpkins we would have back home because we would always have those orange jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. My mom would
Well,
be
you don't
like,
eat
the
those."
jack-o'-lantern's fine. We can just dig out the inside. Mom would use the
This cheese stringy to cook
Yeah.
with.
I know, but
She wasn't
she's like,
wasting anything.
oh, she still is not wasting anything. Let me tell you. Just add a bit of nutmeg, cinnamon, we'll be
Be
right.
fine. Just chew it more.
Yeah.
It's just more chewy.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
fiber.
Yeah.
And then you've got zucchini bread or zucchini chocolate bread where your children don't know there's zucchini in it, which I've been known to do.
Yeah.
Date nut bread,
Oh,
cranberry
yeah.
orange at Christmas time.
Yeah.
I love that. And when cornbread, because I do that in a square tin.
Yeah.
So how about all that phases? Remember they were using things like baby food instead of shortening to make the cake.
Oh,
moist?
like
Applesauce.
applesauce.
Applesauce,
Yeah,
and
which is
prune-
great,
prune
actually.
butter and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
you can,
really yum, actually.
and you can do that with yogurt too.
That was during the low fat
Yes.
phase of our lives where
Good
we
thing
went
that went away
for
quick.
Yeah, it's just
everyone was trying to cut down on the fat.
but it was like eat all
But-
the sugar you
Yeah,
want, but no
add
fat.
No
add
fat,
extra
right,
sugar.
And now it's eat all the fat you want, but no sugar. And I was like, can you guys make up
Like
your
on
mind?
the bag of Twizzlers, been fat free forever, right? Yeah, but high in sugars.
That's exactly right. It just depends what bench you are on the
Yeah,
mountain.
what era?
So now, if you don't have time to do it at home, so I suppose one of the first convenience things made, like before TV dinners, which we talked about in the past, was a box cake mix.
Yeah.
And they're still handy. It's always good to have one in the cupboard somewhere. I was a freaky little kid where I wanted to do it from scratch, and I wanted to use a wooden spoon. And I think I wanted to be Laura Ingalls, a little house up there. But there was always an extra up there if you had like because we used to take like cupcakes to school if it was your birthday or there was a fundraiser or a cake thing.
Yeah.
So there was always a spare one at the back. So there's a few things that you can do to make it a bit more homemade. But I found this interesting little bit of marketing and women's places, I think is a good way to put it. So Betty,
Well, we have to be kept in our places.
we do. Betty Crocker came out with the cake mix, and it just did not sell. They could not figure out what happened. So they interviewed a bunch of housewives, because that's not many women worked out of the house, to find out why they weren't buying it. And they said, well, I'm just adding water. I'm not really cooking anything. So I feel very guilty that I'm spending the money on something and I'm not cooking it and I'm not working hard enough. So they changed the box instructions to add an egg.
Yeah.
And that was
Now they were doing something.
now they were cracking an egg. They were
Yeah.
using their own fresh ingredients.
Mhm.
So they and that is how cake mixes came to still survive over the test of time. People feeling guilty.
They've done well.
Mother's guilt.
The guilt trip.
So one of the biggest things to make it taste like a homemade cake is add an extra egg. So
Yeah.
we're still there.
Yeah.
Instead of water, use milk, or you can put Sprite in there, or you can put
Orange juice if you're doing an orange cake.
That's
Like
exactly
a
right.
flavoring.
Coconut milk, coffee.
Yeah. Great in chocolate cake.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a little bit of coffee.
Yes. I've got some espresso powder I can just throw in there.
Yeah.
That was the only instant coffee we ever had in our house, was like a little bit for baking.
Well,
so I know
Or camping. I always had it in the camper.
we didn't do camping. My mom's like me. It was like, oh, it's outside. I
Yeah.
don't like it. Sour cream. You can put in
Sour
there.
cream's great in it.
And I made some blondies the other day. And actually, after I read that, I forgot about it. Not just vanilla. Put a little extra vanilla in there, depending on the
Yes.
cake. Or stick a little bit of almond
Yes.
essence.
Almond and vanilla
Yep.
go great together, like in, say, a white cake.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
and so that makes it, you can put coconut as well. You can
Yeah.
do like a rum essence if you want to do sort of an eggnog
Yeah.
sort of cake. And the good old
Pudding.
put it,
Oh, the
Box of
pudding's
pudding in it.
Yeah, that's classic.
yes.
And
that's it.
buttermilk too. Buttermilk's a good one.
Yes, that's because that
Yeah.
helps it rise again.
It'd be like yogurt, putting the yogurt in it.
Yeah, you can put yogurt in there.
Yeah,
I do that quite
As the
often.
buttermilk. Yeah.
When you're like, I'm just making something for the kids, I'll be like, what's in the fridge? Like I love to kind of mix a few different recipes. And once you have your basics of baking down, you can kind of do that and
Yeah.
experiment. And you can, grab the Greek yogurt or the sour cream or the buttermilk. You can
Or
kind
do
of switch it around.
lemon zest
So I do that
or
with
all that
pancakes.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a cake.
It
What are you
is.
talking about? Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Oh God, stop.
What?
I'm Canadian.
I know. She's pancake.
Let's talk pancakes.
That's
If you
so
cut her,
pancakes.
she bleeds maple
Maple
syrup.
syrup.
I thought you all guys only came in to top it off. You know.
No,
Yeah.
pancakes. And isn't that a great,
Yeah.
cheap sort of dessert, meal,
Yeah.
breakfast, whatever?
Yeah.
Because it is. It's just a quick, like a Johnny cake. It's just
Yeah.
quick,
Quick,
done.
on, off. Yep. As long as you can flip it right.
Yeah, as long as you've got a pan.
That's
I always think
big.
my dad always had a griddle, and I'm like, I still
Yeah.
don't have a griddle, and I will make it for the kids, and I'm like, bloody frying pans, you can never fit those circles.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Or you have a hot
They all
spot.
butt up.
Yeah, hot spot. That's
But it never tastes the same as, going out to,
I agree.
back in
Yeah.
Canada or
Yeah,
America.
okay.
They're so light and,
The diners, the roadside diners, are always
Yeah.
my favorite place to
Oh,
get
yeah.
pancakes.
Absolutely. And that's where I first was introduced to maple syrup over my bacon as well.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It's like-
Now we're talking.
It accidentally rolled over.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
and
good.
on the sausage too. It just kind of
Yes.
mingles
Yes,
on the plate
it's
with all the
that
savory,
sweet
the
and
sweet.
sour. Oh.
Oh, God.
Can we take a break now and eat?
We're almost done. I'll move on.
Okay.
So when I was looking at pop culture, cake's not really everywhere. Like I said, until we got into Cake Boss and
Yeah,
Ace.
the last decade,
Yes.
or a little bit more, isn't it? It's been almost 15
Yeah,
years since
yeah.
those shows came out.
I love Ace because everyone was so stoned in his kitchen.
Oh.
He was just like, yeah, it's okay. We'll just get through it. It's no problem.
Oh.
Buddy had too much energy and
Yeah,
family like back and forth.
and Aces were a little bit next level, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buddy's the big personality. When I went to Cake Bake and Sweet Show the
Yes.
first time it came to Melbourne, you could hear his voice booming through the building. I could hear
Oh.
him down
Buddy
by the
everywhere.
Crown Casino
Really?
going towards the exhibition building. I'm like, and everyone was going nuts.
I bet.
It was the biggest celebrity.
Oh, I remember, what did he have what was the name of his competition show? Because I watched that. It's like Next Great Cake
Who was
Baker.
The
or
Cake
something.
Wars? Not Cake Wars.
No,
That's a
he
different
had
one.
his own, right? And he just would, and he'd be looking like, you're piping. But he was
He's a bloody
so-
hard worker. Isn't
It
he?
is. So I think cake's pop culture sort of best example is cake fails on the internet. You can
Yeah.
go down that rabbit hole for
Really?
like
Yeah.
3 hours.
Oh,
I
cake
I
fills.
dare you to look up cake fails. And
Yeah.
so there's a really good one on BuzzFeed, which is so frightening. Because like, here's Elsa from Frozen. And then here's this thing that I don't know what it is next to her. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, we've all had cake fails. We've been there. But these are people thinking or people using little gummy teeth and shoving it in like a cake where it's supposed to look like a person.
Oh, too funny.
And there's some awful ones, but it still tastes good. Actually, my favorite one, and we missed this here because you can't go into the grocery store here and take that cake and go, can you put that name on it right now?
Yeah,
and leave it.
that's
like you have to
true.
order it,
Yeah.
right? So there's a whole bunch of ones that are like, the cake actually looks like number 1 on it. So they have a number and a 1 and it says on it. But what they wanted was a number 1 for a first birthday on the cake. So they read it literally.
I love
Like
those.
Stephen and goodbye underneath. And they've written underneath. Or the misspellings. Concatulations.
Yeah, I might have done that maybe once or twice.
Or on it's like I did it. It's all going uphill. It's
Yeah.
very funny.
Oh.
So I highly recommend. There's a BuzzFeed one to look at. I think there's
Yeah.
50. But really, if you have a boring afternoon,
Yep.
trying to kill some time, that will do it for you. Now, speaking of the opposite of fails, what are some of your favorite cake creations?
That I've done.
Yes.
I think probably my favorite one was the first one I did. No, the second one I did for the Cake Bakes and Sweet Show, which was my Hindu cow, my holy cow.
Your holy cow.
Yeah, that one was
Beautiful.
my personal favorite.
Phil Rizzuto of cakes. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
holy cow. And I had done 2 for that competition. I did the wedding cake as well, which was like a tropical, where the theme was bright and colorful cakes or something. So I was concentrating on that so hard because for me, wedding cakes are more challenging than the sculpted cakes. Those are where I kind of feel really at home and I feel I can kind of let loose. So I was really concentrating for weeks, making all the flowers and getting this wedding cake just right. And I left myself 2 days before the competition to get the cow done. I built the structure for it. And then I thought, I've got to do this. I got to leave this wedding cake alone. I'm like, why I took on 2 and I had a baby at home. My little boy was like a few months old. And
Why not?
why not?
Why not? Throw some
And
penny in for a pan.
and so I started making this thing and at first I was like, oh, well, just going through the process. The process is you get excited, then you start, and then you go, what have I started? And then you're like, I hate it. This is the worst thing ever. I'm stupid. I'm
talking about cake or your marriage?
Exactly. Anyway, it's the creative process, and then you come around, and then you're all happy, and once you get rid of it, and you're like, and then you look at the pictures, and you're like, it wasn't so bad.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But I was really happy with that cow because I felt like, it was a release. I was able to really have a lot of fun making it. And then as it came together, I fell in love with it. I didn't want to let it go. I was in there. I did it. And that was just white at one point. I decided to airbrush the color onto it. And I was so scared to throw the color on it. I wanted it to be like a Hindu, one of the holy festival where you just throw the paint onto it. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to ruin it because I've just got it to this point where I'm really happy. So I just had to throw caution to the wind, and because I had the vision and threw the paint on it, I was so happy. So
it was gorgeous.
Yeah, and the wedding cake got best in show, and the cow got first place in novelty. So I was like, okay, I'm done now. I never have to make another cake.
I'm out of here.
Done. So those are my favorites. Yeah, so no, I kind of kept on going with the competitions, and finally got it best.
So all these
best
cakes are on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got that, people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to, it's cleopatracakeart.com. And if you have any inquiries, I don't know what country I'm in, Penny, Penny, because it's spelled the right way, at cleopatracakeart.com. And Penny's done several cakes for my family, and they have been, the thing is, they're awesome to look at, but they taste even better than they look. Like, because I like my cake.
Yeah, me too. I like my cakes. Yeah.
And it tasted and gluten-free cakes, because Penny made one for my daughter, and it was equally magnificent. So you cannot miss out giving her a call.
Me?
Your turn.
What's your turn?
My turn. I'd like to thank Penny for showing up today and putting up with us.
Yeah.
Especially me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, you're difficult.
I know.
What are you gonna come back and talk about, Phil?
What am I talking about?
When we come back.
Well, we're going to talk about next week's episode.
No, we're going to talk about what you have to give your...
What? Secret code?
No wonder the nuns hate you.
I know. Did I tell you that one time this nun had a rubber stamp thing? She walked down to me and she bam, 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 right on my forehead.
And you probably deserved it.
I forgot what it was that she stamped on me, but it was like, maybe it was stars or something. All the good kids got the little stars.
Yeah, and you just got it on your head.
Yeah.
Philip?
I look like the Milky Way.
Okay. We're going to have a break.
Yeah. And we'll be back with this secret code.
That's right, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to get my glasses back on. So we were Okay, we're finished our third piece of cake.
Yum.
And our secret code that you're waiting for is the word bake.
Yes, bake.
Not fake, bake. And store hours are...
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, you can find us you have to get into the store at 73 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. Our hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 to 5, Friday, 10 to 8, Saturday, 10 to 5, and Sunday, 11 to 4.
And if you need to throw something at us
via
email, you can find us at podcasts@usafoods.com.au. Okay, Barbara, let's get some of the feedback from our soda show.
The soda show. Well, Leslie didn't know that there were so many sodas, and she lives in America. She's like, I had no idea there were so many different sodas. So she found that quite eye-opening. We also had multiple people this week on a little chat bubble that you'll see on our website if you have questions, that they love our podcast.
Whoa,
yay!
We're loved.
So if you have any ideas, tell us as well. So you can get through to us on the email as well as the chat bubble.
Yep.
So that was fine. And then my mother.
What's going on now? I know she loves me.
She does, because we had a special call through. We had a little sneaky FaceTime with my mom. She's like, oh, Phil's there. Yes. So luckily I'm feeding you okay and everything's fine because she didn't complain about the green room. But she did have a few things to say about, you mentioned huckleberry soda because that was one of the flavors.
And it brought back memories to her.
It did. So
good, not so good memories.
A bit of both, I think.
Mad uncle, yeah.
So they were on their way to visit relatives in Oregon with her grandmother and my grandfather, her dad, and they stopped at a cafe and they went. The only place she's ever seen huckleberry was a huckleberry pie there, and my great grandmother ordered it and offered to give my mother a taste if she wanted to get it, and my grandfather stopped and said, "Stop! Don't eat that." That's right. It tastes like dirty socks smell, and now she can't try it even if she wanted to.
That lasting memory.
I personally had the huckleberry soda, and it did not bring back gym socks to me at all. So I really think she should give that a go. Mm-hmm. And she also had no idea that Mexican Coke was different. And then she had an experience with it where she went to a Mexican restaurant, and her friend bought Mexican Coke. And Mom's like, "What's the difference?" Yeah. She goes, "Just taste it." And it wasn't until we told her that it's made with cane sugar rather than corn syrup. Yep. So she's a fan now too.
There you go.
And I gave her the hint. I said, "Well, look for kosher soda during Passover too, because you might be able to get it at home." And I think you gave her a hint of where to go to get lime rickeys.
Yes, I told her to go to Sonic.
That's right.
But they don't call it lime rickeys.
It's cherry limeade.
Cherry limeade. Yeah. So, and with a real cherry in it. Maybe they don't do that anymore, but that's the way they were doing it in Kansas. But we're not in Kansas anymore. No,
but if I know her, there'll be a road trip or delivery happening shortly. Because ain't nothing like a good Sonic.
But weren't they going to Taco Bell?
Yeah, she was. There was a doorbell, and she goes, "There's my Taco Bell lunch being delivered."
Oh, doorbell, Taco Bell. I like that. That rhymes.
It does.
It's the doorbell for Taco Bell.
So,
like the Avon lady.
No, who wants the Avon lady when they've got like tacos? Yeah. That's far better. So that's our feedback for this week. Love hearing from our listeners. Love hearing from my mommy and Leslie and her pesky feedback. Keeps us on our toes.
At least we always know they're there.
That is exactly right. And now our favorite segment, Nat Nosh. Okay, Wednesday, 25th of Feb, National Clam Chowder Day.
Didn't we have that about 3 months ago?
We always have Clam Chowder Day. Obviously, every area wants to have it.
And want their chowder.
Yes, I want it, not from Boston. I want it from Pier 39.
Yeah, but you could have clam chowder, potato chowder, New England clam chowder. Corn chowder, Manhattan clam chowder. All right.
Yes, so the clams needed another day. I do not know why, but National Chocolate Covered Nuts Day.
That's a good day. I like chocolate covered almonds, chocolate covered cashews. We had those chocolate covered cashews. Everybody thought they were bloomed, but actually it was
salt. It was salt on them. I'm personally happy that they're out of stock at the moment because I think I ate the whole stock of the ones with the salt on it. Now tomorrow,
more nuts.
Oh, nuts! National Pistachio Day.
Yep.
Yum. Green and gorgeous. Love pistachio
ice cream,
and gelato, and cake, and except you know what I don't like when you get down to the end of the bag of pistachios, they have all the ones that didn't open, and you have to do it with a hammer and break a nail,
break your teeth.
That's exactly right.
And then because now they don't use the food coloring they used to use. Remember, you used to eat pistachios and everything be red.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah. Why do we do all that? I don't know. So what's happening on Friday, Phil?
National Protein Day.
Okay.
Is that like whey and
eggs? Pea protein, or is it just
peanut protein?
I don't know.
Whatever. That's
maybe it's the Bodybuilders Day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now National Strawberry Day,
which is a good time because strawberries are pretty plentiful right now.
Well, here, but this is February.
I know. Well, they're getting them from Florida. I don't know.
Last time I went and saw my mom, it was strawberry season, and I had a strawberry that was as big as the palm of my hand.
Yes.
It was amazing. Oh, Phil.
Oh, National Kahlua Day. That was like the first everybody's favorite liqueur back in the day.
White Russians.
Yeah, it still is. Now, I told you before we went on air that I've been watching Rick Stein's.
Yes.
That Mexican fiesta that he's on.
Yep.
And it's currently on TV. I'm sure you can all look it up. But he does one thing where he goes on to, he's down in Mexico. He went to tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And then from tequila to Acapulco? Yeah.
Acapulco.
I'm thinking I'm combining Acapulco with guacamole. I don't know. My mind just went funny. But he makes what we talked about, the Mexican coffee, and it's done there, but with a little bit more pizzazz. He's at this nice restaurant, but Kahlua is also part of it, with tequila and the coffee and flaming. It's flaming. He's worried about burning his tongue or something.
Oh no, look. You drink enough of them, you don't care what you hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yes. Now, White Russians I loved, and then friends of mine, George Booth, he used to make a White Russian, and then he'd float some Coke on top of it.
Oh.
And it was actually quite good.
Yeah, give a little
like a little
spark to it, so to speak.
No?
And I'm sure you can make a icing. We were talking about cakes.
Oh, yeah.
With Kahlua.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Okay, another thing on the list.
Okay, and then Saturday, the 28th, is National Chocolate Soufflé
Yum.
Day.
Soufflé Day. It's a little rhymey.
Yeah,
That's where you
don't slam the door.
It said don't make noise, everyone quiet, don't check.
Yeah. It's sort of like the cake of tennis.
What?
Well, because you can't make any noise. They'll throw you out. But then again, they're on the field. Come on, shut up.
For my birthday, my sister-in-law took me to a French restaurant, and I had the chocolate souffle for dessert, and an actual French waiter with a little bit of attitude. And he brought the souffle out, and then he poured the chocolate sauce in the middle, but he went up like about 2 feet in the air, like, woo!
Oh, yeah.
And it was so good. That was there's no bad chocolate souffle.
And then Sunday, speaking of souffles.
French?
Yeah, and the French is Frog Legs Day.
Would that be Frog Legs Day?
Yeah, frog.
I thought you said fog. I thought we were in San Francisco again.
No. Frogs. Frogs. Anyway, it's Kermit's Day.
Kermit Day?
Yep.
You had those in Louisiana, didn't you?
No.
Who did?
No, I think the last time I had frog's legs, it would have been somewhere in a French restaurant in New York, and don't ask me why.
Yeah, okay.
Tastes like chicken.
Stringy little chicken. I just keep thinking about dissecting them in high school.
Yep.
That's all I can think about.
Yeah, Penny's still here. You grew up in Canada with a lot of French accents.
My grandpa told me a story about cooking up frog's legs in his little man cabin out on the farm. He had a little cabin that was just his, where he'd get away from my grandma. And I remember him telling us a story about cooking up frog's legs and them bouncing all over the place inside the pan. Whether there was any truth to it, but I thought, but there's no doubt he cooked up the frog's legs because he used to eat anything and everything. So
that one with the fried squirrel.
All of it.
Yeah. If it's dead, you can eat it. Just as long as it's not dead too long.
And then also on Sunday, it's National Surf and Turf Day.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
Now,
nice.
surf and turf could be a number of different things because you don't have to have lobster to make it surf and turf. You can have prawns or shrimp.
I've been watching too many fancy rich people shows, though. They've been
having the lobster
they're having
and the
like
fillet.
the fillet with the whole lobster tail on it. I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic.
I guess that's like the version of having, like we were talking about before, pancakes with bacon. So it's fish with meat. Or meat with fish.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And Monday, we've got, this is the day for you.
Yes.
National Peanut Butter Lovers Day.
Yeah. I could be covered with peanut butter. I love it.
It's your breakfast special.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks. What did I have last? When did I eat it? Yesterday? Or was it this morning? Well, this morning, I did have toast with apricot jam and peanut butter. Great.
Nice.
Oh, just so good.
Do you know something miraculous happened a couple weeks ago?
You've seen the Blessed Virgin.
No. But nearly as frequent as that. Brendan he made me breakfast.
What?
I
Did he go
know.
to McDonald's and brought back an egg
He
McMuffin?
made toast.
Yeah.
with peanut butter and honey.
Wow.
I know.
My 6-year-old boy did that for me the other day. So how many years did it take you to?
30 years. 30 years. It's
No eggs, just
Did
toast
you
and
eat it?
beans.
Because I actually didn't eat the the one my little boy gave me. I was like, yeah, I'm fasting this morning.
Well, I know he's fastidious, so I knew everything was
Yeah, perfect.
So I ate
yours
that.
was safe. Mine not so much.
But that is about as often as I've seen the Blessed Virgin Mary. Then we've got, to go with your breakfast table, National Fruit Compote Day.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah,
okay. Is that like when you get this, like, stewed fruit?
Yeah.
Is that when you get
that's
your
a
prunes
compote?
and
Oh,
your
okay.
apricots and...
Yeah.
that's to be regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And then you tell us about what's happening next.
It's a pie day. National Banana Cream Pie.
Yes.
You need those Nilla wafers.
Oh, that's for the pudding, Phil.
Well, I mean, you put the bananas in there.
Yeah. Okay. There's
Yeah.
two things, but I get you.
Okay. Well, I don't make pies and cake. I just eat them.
Yeah, you just want. Yes, that's right. But the banana cream pie, or if it was coconut cream pie, it'd be Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
You just do like either vanilla or banana Jello. I like vanilla, and then you layer bananas in it.
Very ripe bananas. The
Yes.
riper the better. I've seen this thing on television, and ladies famous for making a banana cake,
Yep,
and the bananas were absolutely black.
black.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a very hard time letting them go that long, though. I just feel like it's decomposition on my
It
page.
is. That's what makes them so
I
sweet.
know, but and then you put either whipped cream or meringue on top. Nice.
Yum.
And then it is
Strove Tuesday.
Shrove Tuesday.
That's what I said. Strove Tuesday.
You said Strove's Tuesday. It's
Yeah,
Shrove's Tuesday.
You got a problem with my accent or what?
Oh, Fat Tuesday. How's
Fat
that?
Tuesday. That's it.
And we were talking about it, they're decorating all the houses for Mardi Gras since there's not going to be floats
Yes.
this
There's
year.
no floats, and I guess there's no parade.
No.
So they're just decorating the houses.
I saw a lovely one, and they've got the Golden Girls out the front,
Oh,
big giant thing,
I love it.
and he's got all sorts of like very long streamers and all the king cake colors. So the purple and the green and the gold, and it looks fantastic.
So I guess so now I guess you drive up and down the streets
Yeah.
instead of walking up and down the streets, and
I
nobody's
wonder-
throwing beads anymore.
But I wonder if that'll stay when everything goes back to relatively normal.
Yeah.
I wonder if people keep we love a decorated house.
Yeah.
They'll decorate. I think that will stay. That will stay. They'll still do the big party,
Yeah,
but that will just
but
stay.
it would be nice to have that.
Hmm.
And that is it for Nat Nosh.
Yeah. All right. So another week wrapped up.
That's right. And what are we going to talk about next week?
Well, I don't know. What are we going to talk about? I didn't get to that page yet. I lost my page.
Oh, Phil.
Cereal. I remembered that. I couldn't even find it. Serious cereal.
Cereal.
A serial killer.
Well, no, but that's my other, true
They
crime
do. They
love.
do have
Serial killers.
shirts. Yeah, with a guy with a bowl of cereal. Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld was cereal. Cereal. Now, as a Gen X kid, that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah.
That was mom went to work. I had
Yeah.
some cereal. Came home from school. Had some cereal. Had a bowl of cereal for dinner.
And you probably, if you eat the right cereals, you probably be very healthy for it.
I'm not making any promises about my choices, but yes, if you do. So we will discuss all these things next week. So if
Yep.
anyone has a favorite thing,
A favorite cereal or a blend of cereals? Why not?
Brendan was very good at that. He'd make this big, gigantic
Mm.
mess of cereal that was all different ones. It was
that'd
quite tasty.
I'll have to think about it. I'm thinking right now about some blended that you could take some different cereals.
That's
I'll
all
have
right.
to talk about those next week.
That's it. So take care. I want to thank Penny again. Thank
Yes.
you so
Thank you for
much.
having me.
Yeah.
And we'll finish.
And our producer sitting over there.
Yes.
Giving
Chime in. The master of
Right.
puns.
Yep. So if you need anything produced, go call Brendan at fizzfarm.com.au.
That's right. That's the man.
And don't forget about Cleopatra.
Oh my God. Cleopatra Cake Art.
Is this a rum cake you gave us?
Yes, I can highly recommend Penny, Cleopatra Cake Art, and .com. So have a look, and I'll see her on Instagram and
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, the Facebook,
so just
the
check
Instagram.
her out.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
I've known girls round the world, sweet as apple pie, candy lips and honey hips make me wanna cry. Love is fine, but so is swine. Just don't make me choose. 'Cause understand, I'm still a man with the pork fat baby back blues.
Sister Mary Eugene would have had so much fun with you.